another episode of Loose Change. It's Basil and Steffan today.
Hey guys.
So the gang, I guess, isn't here today, but that's okay because today's episode is kind of different.
It's very special.
It's kind of so today, I guess. Okay, so basically today we're kind of talking about how it all started for Steffan and I, and kind of how we got into real estate and what we did almost like 8 months ago now, something like that. So it's a little bit different than the other ones. The other ones we were kind of talking more about like just actual mindset and stuff like that. And today we're kind of actually talking about the things we did to get into
story time.
Yeah, to get it like it is, I guess, more story time, I would say.
Yeah.
How's your week though? We'll start off with that.
Yeah, this has been the craziest week of my life. I would say just because, I'm applying for jobs since I'm graduating this year. So it's been like crazy on that front, like crazy with assignments. But honestly, I'm surprised I made it through. And I'm just like happy like now that we're on reading week, I actually got time to focus on, Capstone and, you guys as well. So I'm excited. What about your week?
My week wasn't bad. Work was pretty shitty though, not gonna lie. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I literally I spent a whole day printing once on Wednesday.
Damn.
And then I had 2 9-to-5 meetings.
They're paying you how much just to be a printer, eh?
No, it's not worth it though. It's not worth it. Anyways,
yeah.
Yes, I don't know. My week wasn't too bad. Yeah, like today, like I think this week in terms of maybe like actually like offers on properties and actual viewings and stuff, I think this has probably been one of the more productive weeks. We had 3 offers put in this week.
3 offers on 3 different places put in this week alone. Yeah,
it definitely needs to go up more though.
Yeah,
it needs to go up more. But yeah, so we're this week was productive on the wholesaling and kind of just actually like putting out offers and viewings and stuff wise. So I guess we'll start off with our journey. If you want to go ahead, because you start off a little bit before me, so you kind of start off in real estate.
So I'll actually bring my journey back a little bit because like it's been a lot of growth and mindset changing just to even stumble onto real estate. So I'll actually go back to my first year of university. So I was in medical sciences. So I thought my whole life, I wanted to be a doctor, because like growing up, my parents have always been like, hey, Steffan, doctor, and also just like the things I studied, I was very interested in like, watching surgeries and stuff like that, especially, for a really bright science kid. Fast forward
to... Did you ever watch Grey's Anatomy?
Oh, of course, like my whole first year of uni was all Grey's Anatomy.
That shit made me cry all the time, all the time.
What season have you finished every season?
Yeah, man. Yeah. When George O'Malley died, and then they found out that Iz had cancer.
Okay, spoilers, man.
Man, if you haven't watched Grey's Anatomy already, you suck. But anyways, that episode was crazy.
But essentially, I was in medical sciences. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And I quickly found out that was not where my heart was. And how I found this was, so I used to I had 830 calculus. I missed every single.
830
I missed 830 calc like it was regimented. The other thing is there was one time where it was like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. Like I was in residence at the time. So I go out to kind of like heat up like I think a pizza pocket or something like that. And so I walk into like the lounge area, right? And take it in. This is like around like 3 a.m. This is like late into the night. And like I see a group of like 3 or 4 girls who are on the floor, and they were just studying the biology textbook, right? So me being like a student, like freaked out. I was like, "Yo, like, do we have a test tomorrow?" Because essentially, at the residence I was in, the whole floor was people in medical sciences. So that means I'm like, hey, if these guys are studying for an exam at 3 a.m., then clearly I should be studying, right? So I started freaking out. I was like, "Yo, like, I'll go study right now. I'll go bring my books, whatever." They're like, "Yeah, no, like we're actually just reading the textbook for fun." I was like, what?
For fun.
At like 2 or 3 a.m., like they're just chilling, studying this textbook. And it made me think, I'm like, okay, what am I doing for fun? When it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., like where's my head at, right? And that's when I started to like dig deep down, and I realized that I was like, on Forbes, like looking at different businesses, analyzing different stocks, right? I was looking at, how to build a company. how to be better with money. And this was like the first little step where I was like, okay, clearly,
you're interested in something.
Exactly.
To do with that, yeah.
So fast forward to that summer where I had the chance to run my own contracting business through Student Works Painting.
Shout out Riley.
Shout out Riley. And what happened there was I had one day where like things got so busy that I ended up getting into a horrible car accident. And but thank God I'm alive. I survived that. But shortly after, that next day, like my whole body was still in pain. And I remember I was still getting like calls from my clients being like, yo, hey, Steffan, where you at? Like, can we, when's our job going to get done? And I was like, guys, I had a car accident just yesterday.
Student Works Painting, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically like Western does like a little program where they get you to kind of have your own business, and it's a painting company, right? Like,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So you basically are now your own
contractor.
Yeah, you're a contractor, you're a painting contractor, and then you just basically get a team, and then from there you just get your jobs.
Yeah. Man, so that was one of the craziest times of my life. Like I was an 18-year-old kid, running my first business.
Tough.
Very tough. Like one of my workers was like twice my age, like 36 years old.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, right? And the next day, that's when I had one of the life-changing days of my entire life. So this was like the day after like the accident. Like I'm in pain, I'm recovering. So I woke up that morning and like, I used to have this crew manager. I think his name was Kyle, right? So I woke up, I'm like, yo, hey Kyle, listen. So I can't come in, and work today. I can't work the job sites, but we've done this, for the past couple months. I want you to go to this person, this client's paint, this, pick up, all these workers. Make sure at 6 p.m. like both projects are done, essentially, right? So fast forward, so Kyle was like, yep. And he's like, yeah, okay, Steffan, I think I got it. I'll pick up this. I'll do this. I'll make sure, I get the paints. We clean up. Yeah. And like, I was like, oh, damn. Okay. So he just listened. Right. So I spent the whole day relaxing. I was like, yo, like this was the most relaxing day I had all summer because I was working like 80 to 100 hour weeks, just back to back to back, just slapping it up.
Yeah.
Right. Essentially, 4 p.m. rolls around, I get a text, hey, Steffan, are you free for a call? I'm like, okay, I said call me at 6 when everything's done. He's like, okay, so 6 o'clock.
Something happened.
Right? No, actually.
No, that's probably what you're thinking in your head.
Yeah.
Like something,
exactly.
something happened.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, there must be something wrong. But actually, he calls and he's like, yeah, so Steffan, we painted this, we did this project, we like spoke to the client. Client's really happy. She loves the work, right? And we have both checks for you. I was like, wait, what? You mean like I just essentially woke up this morning, gave a call to a guy. He went and basically did all the work that I was supposed to do. I paid him what he deserved, but then I made like $1,000 or $2,000 off of that. I was like, whoa, that's when I found out about leverage. And like leverage is the concept or the idea that you can actually utilize other people's resources to grow your own business or to like, push your own motives.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing I learned that day that I was like, okay, clearly, like if I can go a whole day where I just slept, I relaxed, and I still made money, like clearly there's a way to replicate this.
Yeah.
So fast forward till, that September, and I essentially dropped out of all my courses in medical sciences without telling my parents, by the way. So very, very scary, but but I was able to do it just because like the girl I was dating at the time, Rose, she basically like helped me throughout that and helped me through that transitionary period. Mm-hmm. And that is when I switched into like actuarial science and like math and getting into like business and finance. But it was after seeing that you can, like in business, I was like, okay, my parents want me to be a doctor, but what if I buy a hospital, employ like 100 doctors? Isn't that, another way to kind of be a doctor?
Well, no, technically you're not a doctor.
But then I was like, okay, so I own the hospital.
But are you a doctor though?
No, but I own the hospital.
You're not a doctor.
Even better, but I own the goddamn hospital. Anyways, right? So that was like my mind opening up to business. So fast forward, that year was also one of like my most brokest years financially, just because I didn't understand like medical sciences does not teach you anything about like money.
Nothing teaches you about money.
Exactly. Like
even business probably doesn't teach you about money.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, actually, I don't know if that's true, but I mean, like,
Yeah, but like essentially, I did not learn anything about money. So like second year, I was just financially messed up, right? And it got to a point where I was actually like looking at London food banks, and stuff like that, where I was like, okay, like I can't even properly budget for like my food, right? And I hit this rock bottom where I was like, so this is what like real brokenness feels like. And you realize that when you're broke, that it actually costs a lot more to be broke. Like especially like I remember when I got my first NSF fee, like a non-sufficient funds fee. It's like, holy, like the bank charges you $48 for not having money in your account. And I was like, like wait, what? Like there's a fee for being broke, and that's when I decided, okay, I need to change things. Like something woke up inside me. I found my why, and I was like, okay, I need to make sure that I never have to go through what my parents went through. I have to make sure I never have to experience what helplessness feels like, because that is essentially where I was at, and that was like when I first got the real fire under me to be like change. So I started researching different businesses, right? So of course I went through a number of businesses, but fast forward to I also started working at TD that exact year, and in working at the bank, you see a lot of people who don't have money, but you also see some people who do have money, right? Yeah. And so that's where I was able to quickly learn and see, okay, the people who do have money, what are they spending their money on? What are they actually like saving their money for, right? And in just working at TD, I started to like not only be aware of like all the products that like the bank offers and stuff like that, which now both of you like were aware, but then I also learned that, okay, like rich people, they actually spend on luxuries last, right? That was like one key lesson I learned. Like, for example, like if you have money, right, you don't go and ball out on like a pair of J's that you actually don't need. You spend on what you need first, and then once whatever is left over, that is what you spend on your luxury items. Yeah. For a lot of like broke people, it's the other way around. You're like, okay, you spend on what you want first, and then whatever is left is like, okay, if you have anything left, then good. Let me pay rent.
Yeah, let me see if I can pay rent.
Yeah, exactly. So just like those small tips, and then fast forward to this guy I met at the bank who was like a real estate investor, but I didn't really know it at the time. I didn't know what real estate investing was, but he just had a lot of zeros. The man just had a lot of zeros, right? So I was like, okay, let me actually just backtrack and see how this man made his money. And essentially I found out that it was through like investing in like, various real estate projects, commercial real estate, and owning a lot of like, small strip plazas or like, strip malls. And I was like, okay, this is not the first time I've been reading up and hearing about real estate. Like I was like, okay, what is real estate? And that's when, I started working with this different business partner named Nate at the time. We were trying to do real estate development. But for anyone who's trying to go into real estate development, it is not easy. There are so many variables. There are like so many points at where like the entire project can fall apart. Like financing, the land doesn't, isn't good. Like brownfield land. Like there was one land where we were looking at, and we found out that there was hazardous or radioactive waste on it after the fact. Which clearly, you can't build on, because it wouldn't pass any. Exactly.
Safety will allow that.
So then, fast forward after working in the bank a little bit, that's where I met Basil. So I met Basil at the bank, and do you want to pick up the story from here?
Sure.
Yeah.
So before, like for me, I guess I didn't understand anything about. Okay, so before I started at the bank, so I went through a phase where I just thought that like, if you have $1,000 or $2,000 in your account, you're blessed. Like you're fine. You're good, right?
Yeah.
So I'd save up a lot of my money. Like I'd have like $3-4,000 like sitting, and then I'd go spend it on stupid stuff. But I wouldn't spend enough where it's like I'm at zero. Like I'd spend enough where like I'll go, okay, I have $3,000. Oh, even if I spend like $1,000, like when I bought my jacket, like I'm like, that's fine if I spend $1,000 on a jacket because it doesn't
$1,000 on a jacket
because it doesn't matter because I'm still going to be over $1,000 or I'm still going to be over $2,000, right? So that was kind of my mentality, which was so stupid at the time. Now that I think about it, But then I kind of when I started at the bank, it was a whole, like, it just changed everything that I thought about. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to save. That's all I was going to do. All I thought about was like, you know what? I'm going to get my paycheck and I'm not going to touch it. I even, what I was going to do, I was going to give my my PTS to the MTO for my savings account.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And not my checking account.
Yeah.
I was going to give them my savings account,
deposit
form
exactly.
Because I was like, I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah.
That's how, like, in my mind, like, it was drilled that just save every dollar you get. So for anyone obviously who doesn't know, a lot of my friends do know this, but for anyone who doesn't know, so I'm on internship right now, so I'm off school.
Which is amazing.
I finished my third year. I'm on internship, and then I go back to my fourth year after that. And it is a paid internship. A lot of people are very surprised that it's a paid internship. I swear I would not be doing it if it wasn't.
And like these days, paid internships are becoming more and more standard just because people are demanding it.
Because it doesn't make sense for you to work for minus 16 months.
Yeah.
A lot of people work 4 months probably, like science, or 8 months or whatever. It doesn't make sense for you to work that long without pay. But anyways, that's beyond the point. So I knew around April, so I accepted my offer around like February, something like that, and I knew that I was going to have time on my hands because in my mind I was like, you know what, I'm just going to work the bank on weekends, do my internship, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to have time on my hands. And Steffan kind of always brought up like this real estate development thing at the bank. Like I remember like even the whole Bahamas thing when you were talking about like developing in Bahamas, all this stuff. So
yeah.
And I was always kind of interested, and I asked you, I don't know if you remember this, but I asked you, I remember this at the bank, I was like, how does someone get into what you're doing? Like, how does someone work with you? And you're like, oh, they're not getting paid right now, but eventually after the project, we kind of do a split depending on what person does what.
Yes, yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, man, like, you know what? Like, I'm going to have time on my hands. Why don't I work with this guy? I was like, what is worst case scenario? And I even told, like, I was talking to my friends about it. I'm like, what's worst case scenario? I waste time. Okay, who cares?
You're still a young guy.
It's worth the risk of wasting time, and like maybe the benefit is going to be amazing. So then near exam time, I sat down with Steffan. I was like, Steffan, like, you know what, man? I want to just be a part of something. So my mentality changed to, I don't want to graduate university not being just a part of anything. I like the idea of working for not like for someone, but working with someone on something bigger than just a normal
9 to 5.
Yeah, normal. I just like the idea of the potential of working with someone that it can like blow up, and then you are actually now a part of this, and you're a core part of it, and not just like an employee kind of thing. So Steffan, surprisingly, I don't know how, I don't know why, but surprisingly said yes, and actually like allowed me to come on and stuff.
Yeah. Biggest mistake of my life.
But thankfully it didn't last long.
Yeah.
because So we were at a point where we basically we found this project, and it was like some crazy project, and it was one of the most like enticing. It was a $19 million project in Barrie.
Yeah. It was going to make a lot of money.
It was going to make a lot of money. But so then we were stuck on the obviously, for obvious reasons, it's $19 million. We were stuck on the capital part. We were stuck on the money part.
It's $19 million.
Yeah, it's $19 million. So it's understandable that you don't have a lot of money to put in that. Yeah. So I texted a friend of mine who was an agent, and I was like, hey, I know you talked to me about like people who have money and stuff like that. Do you know like people who I can talk to? And she gave me this guy's Instagram called Jeff.
Weibo. Jeff Weibo.
So he's an agent in London.
Yeah.
But he's like more of an investor type agent, like a real estate investor. Like he works with investors mainly, and he's an investor himself. So anyways, so obviously him being the selling person that he is, he sold me on over.
Yeah.
so he did like, even though it was completely different than what we thought it was. We thought that, you know what, you pitch this people just go and pitch projects.
And then they give you money.
And then people come up and they're like, hey, like we legitimately set up a whole presentation thing. We set up everything. And he goes, oh, there's this real estate event, come to it. He's like, come to the event, and we're like, okay. It was like $300, and we're like, you know what? Let's try it. Why not?
Let's risk
because
it.
Because if we end up getting a person, like people who want to invest with us, we're gonna make so much money. So we go, and this was April 24th. It was.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure. It was April 24th, and it was completely different than what we thought it was.
Yeah.
It was. So it turns out.
It turns out that we thought that we were going to pitch, but essentially what it was like a group of investors all over Ontario meeting together to just like discuss strategies, improve each other's mindsets, like basically just
what
like
real estate investing is.
What? Yeah, exactly. And then also to my surprise, I've never seen so many people like under, I would say like 35 who are just like retired and retired
yeah,
and
financially free.
like financially free, and like what their definition of retirement is, like their in real estate investments, like month by month, their cash flow makes them enough where they don't actually need to go.
Expenses,
they don't need to go to work. Right. Yeah. So, for example, if your work was paying you $5,000 a month, for example, and your investments are making $5,000, you now don't need to go to work for that $5,000 because your rental income is that. Right. So
unless you want to make $10,000 a month.
Exactly. Right. Obviously. So like that's where like we met a ton of like real estate investors, and we also met this guy that I happen to have known before. His name is Corey McKinnon, and how I knew Corey was actually the guy that hired me onto Student Works Painting,
which is crazy.
And he's the one who had interviewed me on Western Campus for that Student Works Painting back in first year, back in medical sciences. So I was like, oh, hey, like I didn't know this guy is in real estate. He invests, and so he sees me and Basil. He's like, oh, he's like Steffan, whatever, you know. And then that's where we kind of hit it off. And brief pause because there's a lot more coming up. I just want to.
Yeah. Just I will cut that out, I guess.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Oh. We're good?
We're still good. We can cut that out. 23 minutes.
Okay, so you're talking about Corey. Let's kind of let's fast forward a little bit.
Fast forward, yeah.
Because we want to get to the actual how we got into the real estate, how we got our first property and stuff like that.
Perfect. So fast forward, we met this real estate investor named Corey, who happened to have known us. And Corey basically had this coaching program. And at the time, you know, like there were a bunch of coaching programs offered at this OREC event. Yeah. And we were deliberating, but essentially we like locked down Corey because we just thought.
So I kind of just a little bit of, I guess, background with that. Like so the things that we found out were mind blowing, by the way. That's the thing. Like, it's not that we just you were like, you know what, let's just hire someone for this stuff. Like we started learning things that were like,
how does this happen?
Like it was some of the most simple things, but it's like one of the most like it sounds simple. Mm-hmm. It is really difficult, but it's just one of those things that you listen to and you're just like, why would I not do this?
Yeah.
Like, why on earth would I not do that? Mm-hmm. So we start, so we kind of like became like, so we were just absorbing all this knowledge, and then we ended up, again, like Steffan said, we ended up finding Corey.
So we signed on Corey as our coach and mentor, and the reason being is like whenever you're jumping into a brand new industry and you really want to expedite your success, having a mentor can be a catalyst for that success.
People don't appreciate mentors enough.
People do not appreciate mentorship enough. As in,
I got made fun of when I
really
when I told people that I
paid for a real estate coach. Everyone's like, why would you pay for a real estate coach? Like why not go learn it off of YouTube and like save money? And no, like I realized that if you find someone in your industry who has the foresight, the experience, and the knowledge to allow you to avoid the same pitfalls that maybe they made, you can quickly expedite your success. It's the exact same reason why like the top athletes have coaches, right?
Sure.
All top athletes have coaches, and it's because coaches can like sharpen you. They can realize where you lack, right, and come and maybe give you tips and tricks and sometimes resources to make sure that you're like, you know, at your peak performance. And we knew that if we're coming into this real estate game as young guys and we want to be taken seriously, we need to be at peak performance. Right. And so that is kind of why we brought in a coach very, very early on into our business. So fast forward, like the first 3 months, we thought, oh, like we signed on a coach and maybe like a couple days later we'll like buy a property,
Yeah.
right? So we were hungry as hell because we knew that there's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of things you can do once you actually get in the real estate investment game, and we were hungry. I remember that because like we thought like, okay, we're gonna get the house the first month. Fast forward and it was like 3 months of just dryness, right? But then during that time we were doing
Well, it was
some
3 months of it was 3 months of all it was
learning.
May,
Yes,
so May,
yeah.
end of May, June, July, end of August. So it was 4 months of just. It's not necessarily dryness. It was more just of. All it was us learning and structuring our business in specific ways
to prepare for
us. And we at the time were a little bit like not necessarily frustrated, but we were just frustrated, I guess, at the fact that we wanted to get a property so bad that we didn't realize what it took, I guess. And we were so frustrated. We're like, we need a property, I guess.
Yeah.
More of it.
Exactly. So yeah, like I agree with you. Like it wasn't really dryness. Like it was more like preparation for what was coming.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it was necessary preparation
For sure.
because like now looking back, I think those were extremely foundational. Like that was an extremely foundational period for our business, and
100%.
I don't think we would be where we're at without that foundational knowledge.
Definitely.
So like to anyone watching this right now, whenever you're jumping into a new industry like real estate, for example, make sure to get the fundamental knowledge down and make sure you understand that.
You know what else I would say? And I didn't understand this until recently. So if you do decide, again, to make this so a lot of people that are probably listening to this will just want to learn, I guess, and not necessarily go into real estate investing, but they just want to learn about real estate and kind of delve into it at some point in their life. But if you do decide that you want to do real estate, know the lane that you want to take. Because I remember in the beginning, Corey used to always ask us, like, what do you guys want to do?
Yeah, what strategy? Yeah.
Like, he's like, do you want to wholesale? Do you want to do BRRRRs? Do you want to do flips? Do you want to do multifamily? Do you want to do single? And all these questions. And in my mind, I'm like, why are we being so specific? Like, whatever works out, however it works kind of thing.
Yeah, which kind of helped us like jump and fast forward things early on.
It didn't help us fast forward,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I feel like there's some things that we could have been better at if we focus on a specific avenue.
Yeah, exactly. Like for example, had we like focused on like wholesaling, right? I feel like we would have been getting a larger volume of like private deals right now that we would have access to. But because, we focus on wholesaling for maybe a shorter period of time and then quickly transition into just buying a property and like holding it and making cash on it, we didn't really get to explore wholesaling as deep as we could have. Mm-hmm. But also it's because we realized that, okay, wholesaling is a hustler's game. Like there's a lot of moving parts, and we also wanted to grow our business in a way where we could also start making it a little bit more autonomous, right? Yeah. So let's talk about our first property.
So again, this is Jeff. I don't know how this keeps happening with Jeff. I mean, it was Jeff. Good for him. I'm a fan of Jeff.
Keep on killing it, Jeff.
Anyways, so he does this thing called a limo tour. Like a Weibo limo tour. And the first time I ever heard about it was at this event, and they already did it. They already finished the limo tour, and he came and then he was talking about how he got so much, not so much hate, but there was hate that came out of it because people were commenting about the fact that like, oh, all these rich people like just think that they can drive around in a bus and go look at houses and stuff like that and just keep buying people's properties, because obviously they didn't understand what it was. They didn't understand that it was literally people who want to already sell their property. Mm-hmm. So Weibo Limo Tour, like literally what they do is they go around in a bus, and they go through private deals that the owners already want to sell, and they go through private deals, and then they just kind of look at it, talk about it, and then if you want to put an offer, you put an offer at the end. So the first deal that we got was through that, and it was kind of not an accident, but we didn't really expect it to happen.
Yeah.
The limo tour was August 25th, and I remember that because it was the day after my birthday. And we didn't get a property. I was kind of frustrated because I wanted to get a property before my 21st birthday, but that's okay. So I turned 21 on the 24th, and the 25th was the limo tour. And we're going through all these properties, and we go through a townhouse near Fanshawe. And I talked to a guy before going into it, and I was like, "Hey, like, would you ever buy a condo?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "For the price that you can get a condo, you can get a multifamily home, or you can get a single family home, which is just better." So that's kind of the mindset I went into it. So whatever we went into it smelled really bad because it was like dog piss before.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. So a little bit about our first property. Yeah, so it was a private deal off the Weibo limo tour. The other thing is the previous tenants. So not the owners, because the owners kind of left this property and like almost forgot about it.
They literally didn't even, they forgot that they had it.
They forgot that they had it.
That's
how crazy it is. Like imagine forgetting that you have an over $200,000 asset and you just, oh yeah, I forgot about it. That thing over there. Yeah. What is that? You know? So, but it needed a lot of work, in that the tenants at the time, they had, 2 Rottweilers and they would lock one of them upstairs and it just like peed everywhere. Like the amount of pee that was done by that dog was almost over like 10 grand worth of damages, I would say, because the piss, not only was it like on the main floors, it actually went into the subfloors. And for those of you who don't know, the subfloors are the floors beneath your actual floorboards that, you know, and below that you actually just have nothing, right? You actually have the planks that hold your actual floor up. So as in, this dog had caused damage to the actual subfloors. And that was just the upstairs one. The downstairs one, they would also lock the second Rottweiler down there, right? And of course, because it was like the basement a little bit more damp, there was just this tinge, this smell that just lingered around. And I remember for the first little bit, like we would go there and just like spray it down with
it didn't do anything.
Long term it did, but it's just like immediately like it just smelled the exact same. Like Basil and I would go and spray this like enzyme that was supposed to like kill off the odor, but did not work at all. You know?
So when I went there originally, again, when we were actually doing the tour, Jeff said that the owner is willing, so something called willing to hold the mortgage. And I didn't know what that meant because again, I was still kind of learning. And again, that means a VTB.
Vendor take back mortgage.
We're going to get into that. But a vendor take back mortgage, essentially very high level, is where the owner becomes the bank and they lend you
the money,
the mortgage. So no credit checks. You don't really have to show them any like they don't. It's not like a bank. Like they're just the owners, and they're like, you know what? We don't need the cash up front, so you can just pay us monthly for however many years with 5%. So ours, again, very high level. It was a 10-year term, 5-year interest, amortized over 25 years, and they held 93% of the mortgage. Now, normally, owners don't hold that much.
It's a unicorn of a deal,
yes.
And like it's such a rare deal that like I look at real estate guys like John Kepler and like Adam Martin and like these guys who specialize in vendor take back mortgages.
Like it was similar to what they did.
It was similar to what like real estate investors who were like 20, 30 years older than us were doing, and we got this on our first deal.
And
crazy,
again, goes
absolutely
back to the
crazy.
Whole mentorship thing. Oh, and we got our first 3 months interest free.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, no,
principal
only. So it was super cheap. Anyways, so that's where the mentorship comes in, because without Corey, first of all, Corey's the one that even brought to my attention that we should do this deal.
Yeah, that hey, maybe like analyze numbers again.
And the terms Corey helped us with. So like, it just shows we wouldn't have gone, and it's our most profitable property right now.
Exactly.
And it's ridiculous the amount of money we're making off it. It's stupid. We shouldn't be, but whatever.
We shouldn't be making that much money.
No, we honestly shouldn't. But whatever.
Yeah.
So that was kind of our first property.
Yeah.
And then 16 days later.
16 days later, right?
Or no.
19 days later.
19 days later.
19 days later.
We ended up getting another duplex. So we got another one.
Yeah.
And that one we bought off a wholesaler named Mike. And it was an expensive one. We did end up having to pay a lot more than we thought because our mortgage broker we don't want to talk a lot about it, but we ended up getting a little bit burned by it.
Yeah. We got so understand like, and this is what we realized that
Learning experience, right?
like learning, but then also it's like, you know, the failures, and like it's not just a walk in the park when you like get into investing. You know, there are like downsides to it as well. There are times where you will get burnt, right? And it's a matter of like, how do you deal with it?
Yeah.
How do you mitigate it so that it never happens again?
100%.
And like for us, we realized that having a killer team and having like,
Oh, for sure.
like having a group of people who they know what you're doing and they're behind you is the key difference between like a successful investor and like someone who's, you know,
Just a normal person. Yeah,
exactly.
100%.
And for us, we quickly realized on the second deal that we did not have like an A-level, you know, mortgage broker at the time.
And even contractor and stuff, we like even the contractor that we used.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
So
right. Mortgage broker, contractor, just like the list of people that we had on our team at the time was not like A-level, right? And that was just a painful learning experience, I think.
But hey, again,
Yeah.
we learned, and it was a learning experience. So we ended up getting a duplex on Egerton, and that one is, so we ended up getting it for really cheap. We ended up getting it for one, surprisingly, I don't know how. I honestly don't know how, but we got it for $190. It does need work, but the tenants are moving out in May, and the reason we know that is because they signed something called an N11. An N11 form is essentially something that if your tenants sign, that means you can kick them out the day that they're supposed to leave, and if they don't, you can literally get the cops and they will force
Actually
them out.
get them out, yeah.
But that's only if you sign an N11. So that one again came from a wholesaler. And now I guess a big question that I get a lot is, so how were you able to get these mortgages? How are you able to
finance?
How did you get?
Yeah,
because we're on our third property.
Yeah, so let's dive into that. You know, like a lot of people think that you need a lot of money to start, and like I think it all depends on like what strategy you want to jump into, right? So, for example, if you don't have a lot of money, or actually even better, imagine you have no money, $0 in your bank account, right? One of the best strategies how you can get started in real estate with $0 is wholesaling.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about joint venturing.
Well, that's one aspect, but I think like even easier where it's just hustle, I think wholesaling. So for anyone who wants to jump into real estate, one of the best ways to start is through this strategy called wholesaling. So what wholesaling is, it is essentially, number one, finding a motivated seller, and this is a motivated private seller. So this is not, you know, you go on realtor.ca and like, you know, whatever. No.
Properties.
This is you actually hustle to find someone who, for example, like someone who's going through a divorce. This is a very extreme case, but I'll just use it as an example.
50% of marriages? What do you mean extreme case?
Oh, okay. 50% of marriages end in divorce. Anyways. So people going through a divorce, for example, very crazy case, but anyways, it happens very frequently. If you're going through a divorce, for example, you might not be as inclined to sell through a realtor, simply because not only are there realtor fees or commissions that you're gonna pay when you go to sell, but also just, you know, staging and like the whole open house, and you might not want the whole neighborhood walking in and seeing your tattered frames and all that, and like word getting out that, oh snap, like John is really going through it today, you know. So because of that, most people who are going through a divorce, for example, they might actually be more inclined to sell privately. And what selling privately is like basically just selling without a realtor, right? Not only do you save on commission, save on the hassle, and like you get your house as is. Typically, when you sell to an investor, you get cash up front, right? Which, even though you might be sacrificing on the market value of your house, and what I mean by that is typically investors like us, we offer 10, 20, 30% below market value because we're looking for good deals, right? So as someone who's selling and you're going through a divorce, you're taking a little bit of a loss, but what you're getting is that you're getting that cash up front and typically quicker, right? Yeah. So if you're trying to get into wholesaling, and let's say you find, you know, Mr. Jones, who, let's say we know his house is worth $100,000, easy numbers. You talk Mr. Jones down to $70,000. Right? So you've now talked Mr. Jones down $30,000, right? You sign a contract called an agreement of purchase and sale. And This is basically just me walking you through a deal.
I mean, yeah, we don't have to go. Like,
But-
I mean,
but-
yeah.
but anyways.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
finish it because you might as well. We'll keep a high level for the most part.
Oh,
but yeah,
sure.
go on.
Yeah, sure. Essentially, once you lock that contract down, right, you find one of us, let's say if it's Basil, myself, you call us up, you're like, hey guys, I just found Mr. Jones's property. I locked it down for $70K, and it's a deal you can buy right now and make 30 grand, but I might charge a finder's fee of $5,000. So so it's called a wholesale fee, and this is how wholesalers make their money. They charge that assignment fee. So me, Steffan, the investor, right? I'll go ahead and pay $75K. $5,000 of that I'll give cash up front to like the wholesaler, and then I end up closing on the property for 70 grand. I'm happy because I get a property that's $30,000 below market value. The wholesaler is happy, which is you guys. All right, you're happy, or you, whoever's listening, you're happy in that you charge you get that $5,000 in your pocket, right? And then the sellers are happy because they agree to the contract anyway, so they're going to get paid. Right.
Well, they're not really,
they might not necessarily be the happiest, but essentially it's like their property, gets moved on, and like they can move on with their life. That is essentially what wholesaling is, and it's one of the strategies that you can start with almost no money, no credit, no like just from pure hustle, just finding motivated sellers and connecting them to investors or buyers and charging a fee in the middle. You're almost like a middleman, right?
Basically,
yeah.
So that's kind of what like Mike did with us.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
For our second property. So, I'll go back to that point of like people are surprised that they're like, wait, how did these guys have 3 properties? I don't get it. Like, how did you get the mortgages and stuff like that? So, our first one, because it was a VTB, we didn't need to do credit checks. We didn't need to do because it's a VTB. It doesn't matter what we have outside of that. Mm-hmm. We could have had 1 million houses. But we could still do a VTB because it doesn't matter because it's private, right? And a lot of people think that means like it's a private lender. Mm-hmm. They think that the interest rate. So a VTB and private lending is different. Private lending is like, hey, you need $100,000. Here's $100,000. I'm going to charge you 12% interest. Again, very high level.
As in because he's not a bank, he is just an individual lending
with just money. With money. But a vendor take back, you're literally, and a lot of people, and again, another big question. So who owns the house? So
the people who buy it.
So the people who buy it own the house because I now are paying you monthly principal and interest, and I gave you your 7% down, but now I'm giving it to the owner instead of the bank because the owner didn't want cash up front. He didn't care for cash up front because first of all, he has a lot of money. Second of all, he wanted to defer his capital gains, and this helps defer your capital gains. So that's basically why. So that was our first one. Second one, my sister wanted to get into real estate. And I knew she wanted to get into real estate, and I found a deal that real estate we probably could have done ourselves, but I wanted to get her into it and get her involved with this whole project that we're kind of working on. And then she's the one that got approved for the mortgage. She had most of the down payment. And then there you go. And then now we're basically doing everything. We brought the deal.
That is almost equivalent to like what is called as a joint venture partnership. That's essentially what
joint venture,
what we did. And like a joint venture is this, So typically in real estate, you need 3 things for a real estate deal to happen, right? So you need the deal, the people, if it's contractors, lawyers, mortgage broker agents, and then the money, right? And the rules of the game is if you have 2 of these, the third one will always come. Right? So as in if you have the deal and the people, the money will come. Right? If you have the money and the people, the deal will come.
Yeah.
And so forth. And so when it comes to like a joint venture partnership, it's like we found a deal that was extremely lucrative. We had the people and still have the people who can like help us renovate it, make it, worth what it is or it can be. And so because we had that ready, it's just a matter of finding the money partner. Right? And you would be surprised once you jump into real estate, money is the easiest thing to get.
100%.
Like now that we're both in the real estate game, I think we can say this as a matter of fact. Like money is the easiest thing to get. The hardest thing to get is the deal because that is the investment vehicle that is going to make us all money, right? So because in real estate, unlike other investment vehicles like stocks and stuff like that, if you buy a stock, you buy it and then you wait for it to go up and then you sell and then you make the cash. Like with stocks, you realize your gains when you sell. In real estate, it's a little bit backwards in that you secure your profits when you buy, not when you sell. What I mean by that because you cannot control what the market is going to be a year from now, 2 years from now. Like, hey, if you buy a house worth $100,000, who knows what it's going to be?
Maybe worth 3,000.
Who knows, right? So the only thing you can control is what you can get it for.
Yeah.
So in real estate, you secure your profits by talking the owner or whoever down as low as possible and securing it for the best price possible, right? So that you secure your profits. So for example, if a house is worth $100,000, my goal is to lock it down at $70,000. That way, I know if the market goes down by $30,000, I've broken
good.
even.
Yeah, you're still good.
Exactly. Or like right now, if I want to exit, I make 30 grand. Right. So that is the one difference with real estate that I've seen outside of like stocks and bonds and all that. And then the other thing is like the cash flow. For young guys, I think cash flow is king.
100%.
Cash flow is
because the
king.
appreciation will come.
Yeah.
Eventually, the appreciation will come. But if you're trying to get that extra income through school, through whatever you need to pay for your car, you need to pay for whatever, cash flow is important.
Yeah, I find that actually for all ages, like cash flow is like important because it's like
the younger the better.
Yeah, like essentially, like let's say if you had a car payment that was $500 and your rental property nets you $500, you now have a cash inflow matching up with a cash outflow, and that those can kind of like pay each other off. Right. And like this is how kind of, these real estate guys define retirement is that, they might have $10,000 of expenses. Then their goal is like, okay, let me make sure my rental properties make $10,000 net. Right. So that like those cash inflow and cash outflow balance each other out.
And then our third mortgage is basically we had Steffan's mom as a guarantor, which helped obviously a lot because us being on contract. So Steffan is part-time. I'm part-time and on a contract. So I work the TD and the MTO, the Ministry of Transportation. But I'm on contract, which is the issue, which does not help. So me being on contract and part-time, and then Steffan also being on part-time, there wasn't really, and us already having two properties, just one property. Well, two properties, but we're not on the second one on the mortgage. Munya is. So for us already having a property, it was really, 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 really tough for us to get anything
like a decent
good
mortgage.
Yeah, but so luckily we ended up getting Steffan's mom, who was a guarantor, who helped us a lot.
Thank you, mama.
And that basically helped us get our third mortgage. And I think that's something that people struggle with is how to get that first one. Like, you just need to talk to like your parents, your older siblings.
A lot of people don't know that you might have hidden access to cash or capital like around you.
Like the amount of people that like ask your parents literally the most simple question: how much have you paid off the house? Pull out a home equity line of credit, and there you go. There's your down payment.
And essentially, hey, be smart with that home equity line credit. Do not go and spend it on a vacation or a second cottage. No. It needs to go towards an investment because that investment is going to be an asset that pays off for that liability.
Yeah. So that's basically how we ended up getting to our third. Our third, we're not going to talk. The only reason we can't talk about how we got it is because we'll probably get fired if we do. Like Fairfax, we're not really allowed to. I don't think.
Anyways, without risking any of our jobs.
But basically, we took advantage of a situation that we're in, and we just used it.
That's the most vague thing ever. Like we took an advantage of a situation where we're in.
Who from TD is gonna listen to it? No one supports us at TD.
Listen, no. Hey, let's not jeopardize anything. So we took advantage of a situation we were in. Go on.
Anyways, and then yeah. So I was in contact with this lady for like she told me to talk to her in a month. A month came by.
Yeah.
I called her. I was like, hey, you told me to call you in a month. She goes, call me in 2 weeks. And at that point, I was kind of in my mind like, okay, yeah, this lady is not serious. But then I ended up calling her in 2 weeks, and we actually ended up getting it, which was really surprising and really gratifying because it was a whole 2-month process. Even longer, it was like a 2.5-month process. So it was pretty exciting to finally get it. And that was our third one. And we thought we wanted to go on a little bit of a break because it was way too much and it happened really, really quick.
Yeah. Like we actually were going through a period of time where, like, I remember December was hectic.
Oh my God.
I did not stop moving in December.
It was the worst.
Oh my goodness.
There was just so much going on.
So much going on because, like, just, and like, that's the other thing about, like, growth and like growing a business at the same time of like while investing, because it's like we're almost trying to do two things at once, because we're trying to like increase and expand our portfolio at the same time we're trying to build a business, right? Because it's like, sure, there might be stuff that's needed on the investment side, but there's also stuff that's needed like for Capstone and like the business, and like handling both plus a full-time job, like a full internship plus. I remember you were working like 8 to 8.
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous. I don't know why I was doing that.
12-hour shifts every single day. This guy was working crazy.
So we'll end it off. I guess we'll end it off on that. That was a lot. We'll do a quick
part 2.
No, we'll do a quick we'll do quick takeaways. Okay. Also, we are finally a business. We are finally a registered business, which is exciting. Steffan has already done it before with other companies. It's my first time, so I'm excited and I'm happy.
Hey, congratulations on your first business.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And then, so I guess kind of like leading off with that, with the whole JV thing. If anyone wants to work with us, if anyone has a mortgage that doesn't know what to do with it, if anyone has money for a down payment that they don't know what to do with, hit us up. Also, if you have deals that you have, or if you know anyone who wants to sell a property, let us know.
We have referral fees, finder's fees. Exactly.
I think we're gonna say this at the end of every episode.
Okay.
I think we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll try somehow and like make it into.
Into.
So we'll do a quick takeaway.
Okay.
Very quick, because I think we've been recording for a while now. But we'll do a quick takeaway. We'll do you first, and then we'll go with me.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway is the thing that made me change from medical sciences to real estate and whatever. It's just knowledge. Right. I find that the more you learn, the more you earn. And if that's the case, it's like investing in yourself is the best thing to do early on to kind of like basically like jumpstart your success.
100%.
Right. And I find that every single time I've invested in myself, the return on investment, if we're talking about like investment terms, the ROI on myself cannot be quantified. Because I will continue to hustle. I will continue to like do things, like long after my investments, have stopped working for me, right? Yeah. So always begin by investing in yourself, investing in your own knowledge, investing in your own education. It's the best thing you can do.
I was going to talk about mentorship.
Oh, that's also beautiful.
But I guess you kind of brought that up, like just investing in your own knowledge, and I guess that comes with mentorship. My thing is, just ask the right people the right questions.
Yes.
The main reason we're even doing this specific episode so early is because we wanted to wait. We wanted to wait for a while to even talk about real estate. We wanted to do more of like the other stuff, but because I'm getting a lot of questions from a lot of different people about a lot of things to do with real estate. And I guess my biggest thing is like ask the right questions to people who know what they're doing. Yeah. Because you won't start until you know what you're doing. No one, especially in real estate, no one is going to invest in a property without having some sort of knowledge. And the only way you can get that knowledge is by asking people. So I guess that's my biggest takeaway is just start, just do it, because man, like I didn't even, this all happened. This whole journey, this whole thing.
The span of what?
It sounds like it's been a long time. Like it sounds like it's been like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Man, it started in May. It started in May of 2019.
Yeah. We still have not hit a year.
No, we haven't hit a year.
Yeah, and we're growing crazy.
So yeah. My thing is like, just start it. Like just start. If you want to buy your first property, man, if you don't ignore real estate. Just in general. If there's anything you want to do, like just start it, because it will take you where you want to go. And at least worst case scenario, you try it and then you find out if you actually like it or not. And if it's actually worth your time. Mm-hmm. And if it is, congratulations, you just found something that you want to do. And if you don't, hey, move on to the next thing. Don't worry about it. But my thing is just start what you want to do. Just start. And even if that means not getting, like, even if that means you wanting to work with someone and not getting paid for it, even if that means like people don't realize that, like, all these people that we're working with, like Mo, like all of you, like they are working with us not for money. They, like, we don't, like, you know what I mean? They're not getting paid for money. I mean, they're literally they want to work with us because they want to learn
And the
because they
growth
want to
as
develop
well, yeah.
themselves.
So yeah.
So we'll end off on that. And again, like, subscribe, comment. We're on Apple Podcasts now. We're on
Hey.
Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. I'm not too sure if we're on anything else. Jacob will probably let me know after. But we're on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe on all of them. I don't know if you can even do that on all of them, but whatever. And again, hit us up. Capstone Investments.
Capstone
on Instagram.
Investments on IG.
And yeah, we'll see you guys hopefully next week. And yeah, take care.
Cheers.